So let's have a little chat, shall we? Let's have a little occult chat. This is your host, The Occult View. I'm speaking kind of low because I don't want to wake up my household. My friend is asleep and I don't want to disturb him. But let's have a little chat, shall we? I'm a little bit troubled this evening because I'm troubled. The troubles of the world. I'm not troubled for myself, but it troubles me when I see and feel so many people suffering. And I respect that everyone is on their own individual spiritual journey. Recently, the report came out today that actor Billy Miller, best known for playing Billy Abbott on The Young and the Restless, also known for playing Drew Kane on General Hospital, and Jason Quartermain as well, before they found out he wasn't Jason. Billy Miller passed away. He was a very talented actor, very handsome, talented actor. And I really enjoyed his work. And I was wondering why I had not seen him involved in too many projects lately. And he passed away. And they're saying that he had been dealing with manic depression for quite some time. The world is so full of negativity sometimes. And I think the accumulation of that negativity can form negative entities or negative malevolent entities around people. And it can feed on things in your unconscious that you are not aware of. I don't know what exactly was his cause of death, but there's some implications that he might have himself. I don't know, but there's some implications of that, but I'm not certain of that. But it did say that he was suffering with manic depression. And if I'm not mistaken, I've heard in the past that he might have had some substance abuse issues. I don't know, but I think I've heard people say that, but I don't know that if it's true or not. And everything is spiritual. And right now, a lot of people are dealing with spiritual warfares. I deal with spiritual warfare. You deal with spiritual warfare. But it's all in how you deal with it. And it's all about your level of wisdom and knowing what's really going on with you and how in tune and how connected you are to God or whatever you call God or spirit. But I was very troubled to hear about his death. He was only 43 years old. And I was very troubled to hear about his death. And you really have to look at why are so many people in this destitute of spiritual state, if that makes sense. Why are so many people so sad and so depressed? I mean, we can look at it in numerous ways, and we can have numerous answers about it. And I think that one of the things that creates a lot of these negative spirits around people is isolation, not having at least one good, I want to say, friend or relative or family member that you can really talk to and relate to. Because here's the thing. In this day and time, especially if you are a famous person, you can have a million followers and you can have a million people around you. And none of those people might not even be a friend. None of those people might not even be a friend. You can have a million people around you and still feel lonely, still feel trapped, hopeless, unloved, unwanted. And that is a problem with a lot of people in the industry. Just like with Andrea Evans, excuse me, who played Tina on One Life to Live, she recently passed away too. And she also was not that old. She was only 66 years old. That's really not old in this day and time, you know? And she had breast cancer. She had it once when she was 46, and she also had it came back, and ultimately that's what ended her life. But the thing is that what people, a lot of people may not know about Andrea Evans, those of us who are admirers of her work when she played Tina Lord on One Life to Live, and she also played on The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless, Passions. She's played on multiple soap operas, and she was really well known in the soap opera daytime drama industry, and she was very well respected. But a lot of people may not know this. Andrea Evans was a victim of malicious stalking in the early 90s and in the late 80s, early 90s. And she had to exit One Life to Live. That cut her daytime drama career short when she was playing on One Life to Live. This nutcase, who was some Russian math teacher or something like that, he saw her on Regis, live with Regis and Kathy Lee, I believe, at that time. And I think Andrea was flirting. She was flirting with Regis Philbin, you know, playfully, tapping into her Tina character because Tina was a vixen. And this crazy person, this crazy Russian math teacher, who, by the way, ended up breaking into the then Secretary of State's office at the State Department, I believe. I don't know what year it happened. I don't know what Secretary of State was in office when he did it, but he ultimately ended up doing that, and that's when he went to jail. But he stalked Andrea Evans. He was threatening her. He even showed up at the ABC studios where they filmed One Life to Live, and that is when Andrea Evans left One Life to Live in 1990. And a lot of people are wondering, well, why did she have a lot of that negative energy that ultimately accumulated and turned into cancer? And the reason being is because, and I'm not giving no medical advice, but I'm talking spirit, I'm talking energy and frequency. What happened was she accumulated a lot of negative energy and it never went anywhere. And that was the reason why she had a lot of the problems that she had, because that man directed a lot of negativity at her. He caused a lot of negativity to surround her. I mean, she was, very wary about her surroundings all the time. She never really found peace, I don't believe, after that. I don't think her life was ever the same when this nutcase came to the studios stalking her and threatening her. He wanted to harm her, all because he seen her in an interview that she did on Regis and Kathy Lee. So negative energy is real. Unchecked, unbalanced negative energy can create negative entities around you. It's called creating like a tulpa or something like that. And there are people who know how to create negative entities, or positive entities, whatever, whichever one. And they can manifest in different ways. They can manifest as different illnesses. They can manifest as different mental illnesses, such as a manic depressive and stuff like that, you know? But what's interesting, and the reason I'm talking about this is because the world is very troubled for a lot of people right now. And I was watching a video, and this is what I really wanted to talk about. I was watching a video um, maybe the other day, and the video it was two men having a conversation. One of them was a psychiatrist or a therapist, and the other was a man just asking questions. And the man asking the therapist questions, he wanted to know, has anyone ever been cured from being gay or whatever the case may be? And I believe the man said no, and he gave some explanation and gave his own opinions and whatever. I don't care anything about that. That's not what I'm here to debate, or I'm not here to debate at all. People can have their own views on whatever they want to have their own views on. I am gay. That ain't changing, and I don't care what people think about it. That's just how I live my life. Okay. But when I read the comment section, even if there were comments that made me uncomfortable, I still read them because I want to understand where people's minds are at. You understand what I'm saying? And it took me back to when I went on to Brother Panic's platform years ago when I did the lecture on androgyny. And and I'm not talking about Brother Panic. I don't have any issue with him. I'm talking about the people that follow him. And what I find interesting about people who are followers is that, number one, they don't have a mind of their own. When I did the lecture on androgyny, number one, I am not anyone else but myself. And that is why I do have some of the respect that I do have, because I am who I am. And I'm not trying to paint a picture of someone else for you to believe that I am, like a lot of those niggas that follow him. You feel what I'm saying? They try to paint a picture of themselves that's not true. And I'm sure Panic can see through that. At least I hope he can. And when I did the lecture on androgyny, it was no problem. It was no problem. But when he brought me on to do that interview that he had with B.O.B., which was really about fun and joking and stuff like that, because that's how he was at that time, Panic. When he brought me on to do that interview that I did with B.O.B. when I was dressed in drag, that's when those niggas had a problem. They went to his Facebook page, they went to his Instagram page talking about, people supporting a gay agenda and all this misinformation. And then, ultimately, that coupled with the fact that there was an individual that he allowed to come on his platform who tried to speak negatively about me, that is where me and Panic kind of had a disagreement, and that was never really settled. He it just was, it was never settled. And I feel like in my spirit he allowed those people to get inside of his mind and turn him kind of against me. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay. That's all a spiritual lesson. I don't care anything about that. There's no judgment about that, because again, everyone is on their own spiritual journey. And I respect anyone's decision not to want me around them. I respect anyone's decision who does not want to be bothered with me because I'm not a stalker. But most of those niggas that are around him, they're stalkers and weirdos. I'm not. Because when a person shows me that they don't want anything to do with me, I walk away. I'm not fighting for anyone who don't fight for me. You feel what I'm saying? And I say that with respect and love of self. So when I go back to the video that I mentioned earlier about the two men having a conversation about homosexuality and can it be cured, I'm looking at the comment section and I'm looking at these comments of all of these people who are making the most just the most misinformed comments. One person said that, you know, I don't know, it doesn't matter what they said, but they were just making some really interesting comments, right? And it all boiled down to the key word, which is gay agenda. And I've thought about this because I've talked about this before. And me being an openly, gay person, I'm not in the closet, I'm just private, but I'm openly gay. But I thought about this term, the gay agenda, and I really wanted to understand what this meant. So I consulted with my spirit, my own spirit, and I really wanted to understand what is the significance of a gay agenda? What does that really mean? Or is that just another distraction to cover up something else? And then that's when I had an epiphany. And that's when it took me back to the experience that I had dealing with Brother Panic and all of those niggas over there, and how I felt like they turned on me because I am a truthful gay person. And I'm not a gay person who lives in the shadows. I'm not a stereotypical gay person. I am a real gay person. I'm not a stereotype. And I carry myself with a certain dignity and respect. Even Panic said that himself. And I don't need his validation, but I'm just pointing out. He even said that himself. So when I really look at the gay agenda, what really is the gay agenda? What really is the gay agenda? And does it really have anything to do with sexual orientation or homosexuality? Because when you really go back to the etymology of the word gay, when you really go back and really look at it, the word gay, it did not become, and I've talked about this before, it did not become a term used to define a same sex loving person until I believe the 19th or 18th century, if I'm not mistaken. No, that was the derogatory term that they used, the F word, to describe gay people. I'm sorry. No, scratch that. I don't know when the word became a term used to describe a homosexual person, but I do know that the word gay also means happy or happiness. And when I think of happiness and when I think of, you know, anything that has to do with happiness, I think of the heart chakra. I think of the heart chakra. I think of the crown and the heart, or what people would call the heart chakra, because the heart chakra connects you to Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness connects you to the higher etheric realms, which beyond the heart, you go to the crown. This is all quantum shit, which ties into spirituality. So my spirit said to me, you know what, Seer? You have to understand something. People are always arguing about a gay agenda, but it's not really about a sexual orientation or what people want to do in their bedroom, what consenting adults want to do in their bedroom. The real the real issue is happiness. The real issue is joy and love that all people have with each other. It's not just gay people. We're talking about heterosexual people as well. So the real gay agenda is not about spreading homosexuality as we've been so ignorantly led to believe. The real gay agenda is trying to stop the happiness, joy, and love that adults and people in general have amongst each other. And what is the alternative to unhappiness and misery? What is the alternative to all of those things? Division, creating strife when there is where there should be none. You feel what I'm saying? The reason I brought Brother Panic up too is this. Somebody recently reached out to me and it was another gay black guy, and he was telling me that he recently purchased Brother Panic's new book called The Seven Dark Laws, which I heard is pretty good. And I'm not shocked about that because he's a good writer. Panic is a very good writer. I have one of his other books around here too. I believe Hit Occult Civilization or something like that. It was a very good book. You know, very knowledgeable about the occult and spirituality and stuff like that, but mainly about the occult and stuff like that. It was a very good book. And he recently wrote another book called The Seven Dark Laws. I have not read it, but someone reached out to me and they said to me that I was mentioned in the book. And I was a bit shocked. Now, granted, when me and Panic had that issue a few years ago, his book was already being written, so maybe he didn't have time to take me out of it or whatever the case may be. But I was really shocked to hear that I was even mentioned. I don't even care if it was just a mention. I was shocked that he would even put me in his book of all people. You know what I mean? I was shocked to hear that. I was really shocked. I was really, really shocked to hear that he mentioned me in the book, or at least well, the young man said that he mentioned the interview that he gave me 6 years ago on androgyny. So I was shocked to hear that. But it ties into everything that I'm talking about. Me and Panic never had no issues with each other. We were always cool. I would say I had a good rapport with him. I'm not going to say we were friends because I don't really do friendships like that, especially with black men, heterosexual black men. I don't. But we had a good rapport with each other. And I was hurt and disappointed that that could not have been fixed. Even if we never spoke again, we could have at least squashed it. You understand what I'm saying? We could have at least squashed it. That's what I'm saying. But it just didn't go that way. But we live in an age where people don't want you to squash things. People want you to continuously be in conflict with other people. And a lot of those niggas that follow him, they had an issue when he put me on with B.O.B. when I did that interview. They had a problem with that. I was dressed in drag. But it was supposed to be for fun. That's what I thought it was supposed to be, for fun. And that's how I took it. I didn't take it too seriously because I don't have to talk about what I know spiritually and what spirit I talk to. I don't have to do all that. I don't have anything to prove to YouTube or to anybody else because YouTube don't pay my motherfucking bills. And nobody on YouTube pays my motherfucking bills. I pay my own bills. I pay my own bills. So I just don't feel as though I have to prove anything to anybody. You feel what I'm saying? So when I went on, he asked me to come on with him and his friend B.O.B., and that's the rapper. He asked me to come on because he wanted me to prank him. He wanted B.O.B. to think that I was a woman, but it was all in fun, and I already knew that that was the case. Some people were saying that he put me up there so he can make fun of me and degrade me or whatever. None of that was true, but they wanted that to be true. People wanted that to be true, but that wasn't the case because I already knew because he and me and Panic and I had a conversation about what was going to happen in the interview. It was supposed to be for fun. But because niggas are haters and because they are antichrist and they are unlovable and they have no love in them, they don't have the power of love backing them up. They have the power, they have the energy of destitution that's backing them up because their job is to destroy happiness and love, friendships, camaraderie. That is their job because they don't want to see people have good rapport with each other. They don't want to see people happy, in love. And that includes heterosexual people too. They don't want to see you in love. They don't want to see you happy. That is why they create the division that they create between heterosexual people as well. When I think of, I know a lot of people have an issue with the LGBT flag and the rainbow and all that. And I can kind of understand sometimes why straight people say, that they should have their own straight pride. You know what I mean? I can understand why they say that. And I may get a lot of flack from this, but I can understand why they say that. I'm not talking about bigots, but I'm talking about straight people who are saying, hey, listen, I think my love is good too. And you're right. You have a right to express your love. What is wrong with a straight person expressing their love for their partner? There's nothing wrong with that. There has definitely been an attack. There's definitely been an attack on heterosexual love as well. But it's not just an attack on heterosexual love, it's an attack on love in general. It's an attack across the board on love. And it's not gay people attacking heterosexual love, it's whomever is the driving force behind this agenda, which they call the gay agenda. But the gay agenda is not about promoting homosexuality like people have mistakenly believed that it was. The gay agenda is about removing happiness, removing joy, removing love from people, removing that from people, taking that away from people. That is why they make it so hard for people to communicate with each other in social media now. On YouTube, YouTube used to be a much more personal experience. We used to have inboxes. I know a lot of younger people may not remember this, but we used to have inboxes on YouTube where you could privately inbox people. Then they started capitalizing off of that. They took that away from us. We could no longer privately inbox people on YouTube. They've taken away a lot of things that made things more personal between people because they want to remove, and they are removing, or they're trying to remove certain frequencies out of the picture. So people won't tap into their higher self. They'll tap into the lowest part of themselves, which is those what people would call more negative emotions. And I always talk about negative emotions that sometimes we have to pay attention to them because it may not be negative in the sense where it's trying to hurt you, but it's trying to get you to pay attention to something that you need to focus on and you need to see and you need to fix. But it just seems like everything is overrun with negativity now. That's why I say the world is troubled. I'm not troubled. I'm not troubled. But when I see all of the suffering that's going on in the world, that is troubling to look at. Now, I don't feel as though it's affecting me and my reality, but when I see talented people like a Billy Miller, who's no longer here, or even people that I know personally that are no longer here over some dumb shit, that's a problem. But remember, the gay agenda is not about sexual orientation or promoting homosexuality. It's about promoting an unloving, uncaring, no compassion having, no wisdom having society. That is really what the gay agenda is about. Removing happiness, removing joy. It's almost like how can I put it? I'm not saying that this is the case literally, but it's almost like a CIA program. You know what I mean? It's almost like a CIA program or an MK Ultra program. I examine and I study people's behavioral patterns and spiritual patterns in social media all the time. For example, I see a lot of men, especially. I see a lot of men who are always talking about they're looking for love, they're looking for positivity, they don't want no drama. They don't want no negativity. They don't want this. They don't want that. Yada, 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 this. But then when you go to their social media pages, what do you see? You see nothing but anger. You see nothing but bitterness. Some of them are in their pictures holding up their middle finger. But then these are the very same people that I just said, they're looking for love. They're looking for happiness. They're looking for joy. They're looking for no drama. But dude, you're in a picture with your middle finger up. And you expect women to be attracted to that? Maybe some women are, I don't know. But you expect to attract a woman who is not full of drama, who is not negative, who is loving. You expect to attract that type of woman putting out that type of energy or whatever you're trying to attract, whether it be a man, woman, trans, it doesn't matter. You expect to attract something positive when you're doing nothing but spouting and putting out a bunch of negativity. This is the agenda right here. This is the agenda to remove love between people. And it's an attack not just on, and here's the thing, you know, we get caught up a lot of times in the effects of other people's frequencies and what they say and what they think sometimes. But honestly and truthfully, when you really sit back and think about it, you will begin to see how the curtains and the layers will pull back and you can see the real agenda. Like I'm telling you about the so called gay agenda, which has nothing to do with promoting homosexuality. It's all about promoting an unloving, uncaring society because gay means happy. And when you can remove happiness from a society, when you can make things difficult for people which will remove their happiness, then you can control them. But when you really pull back the layers And when you really think about all of the people who are so-called homophobic, who don't like gay people, who have so much to say about gay people and trans people, when you really, and I'm talking about bigots, I'm not talking about people calling out fuckery and bullshit, because people can call out gay people if they're doing fuckery and bullshit, whatever. Whatever. People can call out gay people if they're doing fuckery and bullshit. People can do that. It's not personal. It's not because we're gay. But if you're doing fuckery and bullshit, people can call you out like people call out Saucy Santana all the time. People can do that. That doesn't make you homophobic. What makes you a bigot, I don't really like using that term homophobic because I don't think it's about them being afraid. I just think that some people just hate gay people. And it doesn't matter what race they are, it doesn't matter what gender they are. Some people just simply hate gay people. And that's just the way that it is. Just like there's some people who simply hate black people. And that just can't be remedied. They have to change that if they want to. And personally, I don't give a fuck whether they change it or not. That's not my burden to fight. That's not my burden. That's their burden. You know, as long as they stay in their motherfucking lane and don't fuck with me, I'm okay. But what I'm talking about is this. The real reason people have a problem with homosexuality is not because of the sex act. It's because of the love that they see between two men or maybe two women. And it may not even be sexual. Everything does not have to be sexual. My friendship with Christopher Barry, and I've talked about Chris plenty of times. Did we fool around? Yeah. But my main relationship with him had nothing to do with sex. It was the energy between us. There was a love and respect between us. There was a deep love and respect between me and Chris Barry. And if he was still alive, we would still be friends. You feel what I'm saying? It's not always about the sex, it's about the love and the spiritual connection that they see between maybe two women or two men. And I'm not talking about people violating other people and trying to force or enforce their, prowess on other people. So don't come at me with that bullshit. I'm talking about spirit. When a lot of especially a lot of these homophobic, bigoted black men, when they see the love between two men or two women, it enrages them, not because it's same sex. They don't like the love they see because they're anti-Christ, they're anti-love. I'll take it a step further. When they see heterosexual people who are deeply in love, a lot of times they will do everything they possibly can to destroy that love between a man and a woman. So it's the same concept. It's not just gay people that they have a problem with when they see love between them. It's heterosexual people too. They have a problem seeing deep love and affection between heterosexual people too. That is why there's so much division sometimes between black men and black women. If we want to be technical, that's all by design. It's all by design. You have men and women who hate to see love between two people, but mainly I've seen it in a lot of men a lot. But I'm sure women can play a part in this too. But it's not about gender. It's about spirit and what spiritual energy is backing you up. What is motivating you? What type of demon is that to try to remove love from people? But that's the gay agenda, to remove happiness. But they have everyone else thinking that it's all about sexual orientation. See, we're over here thinking everything is about sex and sexual orientation because they know that sexual orientation is a hot topic, a red button pusher for a lot of people. But no one ever thought that the trick of the magician was really not about sexual orientation being promoted, or a specific sexual orientation being promoted, but more so about the removal or the eradication of happiness, joy, and love, because happiness and joy and love are all the same thing. That's all in the same pool, all in the same pool of family of pools, or whatever you want to call it. It's all in the same family. It's about the eradication of that. And keeping people at the lowest part, or in the lowest part of their mind. That's what it's really all about. And I really sat back and I thought about it. I said, oh, so that's what we're dealing with. That is why we have so many people who are dealing with depression, anxiety. Because look at all of the negative spirits that are being created around them because of this. All of the negative tulpas that are being created around these people. So going back to the whole situation that went down between Panic and myself a few years ago, the misunderstanding, that could have easily been resolved. That could have easily been resolved with just with a conversation, which I tried to do on multiple occasions. But he didn't want that. And I'm okay with that. That's cool. But when I look at it as an occultist and a spiritualist, I understand the climate and the energy that we're living up under. And when you are having a human experience, you are prone to be affected by these, I want to say, cultural diseases. But I chose to rise above it, to understand it, and to look at it within a bird's eye view. And sometimes, everyone wants to be on the top, but sometimes you got to go to the bottom to understand what's going on at the top. And I can tell you within my life, I've been to hell and back, and to hell and back again. And that is why I can sit here with conviction in my heart and say that I'm a true spiritual warrior. And a lot of the younger men that I talk to, who are heterosexual as well, some of them, a lot of the younger men that I talk to, I tell them the things I've been through. I tell them the mistakes that I've made so they won't repeat those mistakes. See, that's what an elder is supposed to do. An elder is not supposed to be an antagonist. That's what an elder is supposed to do. We're supposed to teach the younger people how not to make the same mistakes that we did. I was having a conversation like that with a younger guy today that he's like a play little brother to me. We were talking about money and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, listen, don't make the same mistakes that my generation did, including myself. I said, if you stay on the right path, if you stay on the path that you're on, you'll probably have a whole bunch of damn money, probably by the time you get in your late 30s, maybe even before then. You know what I'm saying? See, that's the type of stuff that I do, you know? And a lot of times I don't even get paid for my spiritual work. But that doesn't mean that you ain't gonna fucking pay me. It depends on, that don't mean you ain't gonna fucking pay me. I'm not Dear Abby. I'm not Dear Abby. If I don't know you and you hit me up, you got to pay me for a consultation. It's as simple as that. If I don't know you, I'm not helping you. My energy deserves to be compensated. And that's another thing with black people. Black people, you all will go out and you will pay white people to do whatever you want for you. You'll pay white people hundreds and thousands of dollars, but then you want to come to other black people and you want to fucking nickel and dime us. Or you think that we're supposed to do everything for you for free. If you don't get the fuck out my motherfucking face with that bullshit. You know? And that's why really I don't really fool with a lot of people when it comes to, giving spiritual services. I mean, I can. I'm very valuable and knowledgeable in that and have a lot of wisdom in that arena. But to me, it's more problems than it's worth sometimes. It is more problems than it's worth, especially dealing with black men, because black men don't like to fucking pay. They think that everybody's supposed to give them something for fucking free. And that's just real motherfucking talk. And I don't give a fuck who don't like it, you know? But that is the gay agenda, to eradicate happiness, to eradicate love between people, between adults. And then with the eradication of love between adults, they can continue to push this Edo, and you know what I'm talking about, Edo agenda. I saw an interview with Corey Feldman, the actor, and he said that Barbara Walters is a handler for the elites. Like she was a gatekeeper for the elites for them to do some of the horrible things that they did and they do to children in the industry. Corey Feldman, he was a child actor. And he has come out numerous times and spoke about how he was violated as a child by well known, big name Hollywood people. He talks about that all the time, you know, because that's the real agenda that they're trying to push. They want to have an agenda. They want to have a society, that is based on violation, not mutual respect, not mutual exchange. They want to have a society where it's predator and prey. And a lot of these people act just like that now. A lot of these people, when I observe their behavior on social media, they act just like that. They act like predators. They can't just say, let's have an adult relationship. Let's go to dinner. Let's have an adult relationship. Everything has to be in a predator prey scenario with them. And they don't know that I'm studying them. See, I study these people. I ain't trying to meet none of them crazy motherfuckers. I be studying them. It's not about love or anything. Like back in the early 2000s, when you wanted to have fun and have another adult friend and y'all go out or y'all stay home and do what you do, it was a totally different world back then. I mean, it was crazy back then too, but it was nothing like it is now. It was nothing like it is now. People were able to work through their differences. If you had a problem with somebody, you were able to at least come to some type of agreement or not. But it wasn't no motherfucking, falling out on bad terms. I don't like falling out on bad terms with people. I don't like that. But people oftentimes like falling out on bad terms with me for no fucking reason or for the most minor thing. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But I don't like creating regrets. I like creating hope. I like creating promise. I like creating happiness. I like creating joy. I don't like creating regrets in my life. I don't. Jesus, haven't we, don't we all have enough regrets in our lives that we have to contend with anyway? And that's what I'm saying about with Brother Panic. I never wanted to have any issue with him because at the time when I reached out to him for spiritual stuff, at that time I was kind of estranged from my family, you know, and the kindness that he showed me, he reminded me of an uncle that I had a long time ago, number one. So it was kind of like having my uncle back, with me, even though I knew he was not my uncle. I knew that. But I really had a deep respect for my rapport with him. And when that happened, it just really hurt me. And I can say that really hurt me. That really hurt me. But the more and more I began to understand what was really going on, and I'm not going to really get into all of that, but the more and more I really began to understand what was really going on, the more and more there was no reason for me to be hurt. Because let me tell you something. In this life, you may be bruised, but you don't have to be broken. You ain't got to be broken. And that bruised me, but it didn't break me. It didn't break me. And the reason that I'm talking about it is not to wallow in it, but it's a life experience. And spirituality and life experiences tie in together, just like the death of my friend Christopher. That was a life experience. That was life experience. I'm sorry. That was life experience. That was a lesson. There was something that I even learned from that. You feel what I'm saying? I learned something from every single person, whether it be a challenging person, whether it be a good person, or both. I learned something from each experience that I have. And each experience that I had, whether it be good or challenging, but you notice we learn more from the experiences that hurt us, from the experiences that challenge us. We learn more from those. Those are the experiences that really make us, you know, and that really takes us into our masterhood. See, the real the real mystery school is you. You are the mystery school. See, people think the mystery school is going off to some big castle, dressing up in robes and lighting candles and chanting. That's not the mystery school. The real mystery school is you. The real mystery school is inside of you. That's the real mystery school. That is where you get initiated inside of you. I don't care what none of these motherfuckers say. Now, they have initiations for certain things in the material world, but when you really want to be, when you, the real spiritual mystery school is inside of you. See, that's what people don't tell you, but I'm going to tell you. It's inside of you. And that is how I know some of the things that I know. And that is why I look at things in the parallel as I look at them. Like with the gay agenda not being about promoting a sexual orientation, but about eradicating happiness. Because gay means happy. Happiness connects to love. Love connects to joy. Everything is like connect the dots. Everything is interconnected. But you have to peel back the layers. You have to tap into your own mystery school to understand the real mysteries that are before you and the games that are being played before you. You feel what I'm saying? You have to understand that. And I give myself credit that I had the courage to even sit on a platform with a bunch of heterosexual men that really did not like gay people, like Brother Panic and the people that surround him. Because, a lot of them don't like no gay people like that. At least not no gay black people. They like gay white people, I think. But I don't think they like black people like that. And that's okay. That's their prerogative. I don't care anything about that. But it took a lot of courage for me to do that, knowing the type of personality that Panic has. That took a lot of courage for me to do that. And I was extremely nervous because I'm going to tell you something, like I said before, I never really, when I started going onto his talk show radio, when he used to do talk show, when I used to go on there, I was only talking in the chat. I just felt, oh, I said, okay, they're not, they're not outwardly anti-gay. They're not calling me names and saying I'm not welcome to be over here because I'm gay. I said, okay, well, I'm welcome to be over here. And it was fun. And I felt safe and comfortable in that environment. I felt safe over there and I felt comfortable. I never really wanted to speak, or be a speaker on the platform. But one day they were having a conversation about homosexuality, and I said, "Well, I'm gay." I said, "What you want to know?" I mean, because I'm openly gay. I don't hide who I am. Those niggas over there, I'm not talking about Brother Panic when I say this, but those niggas over there, a lot of them that follow him, those niggas are the ones that's fucking hiding. That's them. Like some bitch ass nigga named Ernest that was over there talking about um, some promoting some gay agenda because Panic had me on in the interview with B.O.B. Oh, they lost their mind when he brought me on with B.O.B. They were so jealous about that. Why would Panic have a gay guy on with him and B.O.B.? They were so jealous about that, but they had been wanting to create a problem between Panic and myself. And unfortunately, he took the bait, not me. He took the bait, not me. Because he turned against me. I didn't turn against him. We had a disagreement, but he turned against me. And I say he turned against me because he started acting funny after that. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, we have to understand the culture that we're living in now and the energy that we're living under. And nobody is, at least I can't say nobody. Some people are not immune to that. Some people are just not immune to that. They're having their own human experiences and they don't pick up on everything, and that's okay. That is okay. That is okay. But remember, we're living in a world that is trying to eradicate love and happiness and joy and peace. You have people, when I go to different stories that they post on Yahoo, you have people, I mean, who are these weirdos? There are people in comment sections on Yahoo message boards who actually wish, and they are wishing for the bombing of democratic cities. And these are supposed to be Americans doing this. You want to see a war? You actually want to see millions and millions of people suffer and die? You want to see that? And I understand the spiritual aspects of suffering. I get all that. I get the illusion. I get that. But who wants to see millions and millions of people die simply because you don't like their political choice? This is the type of world we live in, though. Now, this is what we're. This is what I'm talking about. I saw a guy post on another on one of those apps. On his profile, he said, "If you hate Donald Trump, don't contact me." This is a white guy, of course. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, you're on a dating app and you're telling people if they don't like Donald Trump, not to contact you. How about this? Donald Trump don't like none of you motherfuckers. Donald Trump don't like none of you motherfuckers. So why is you getting some pussy predicated upon whether somebody likes Donald Trump or not? You see how demented people are? People are self sabotaging their own happiness because we're up under the gay agenda. We're up under the gay agenda to eradicate happiness. People are self sabotaging their own happiness, their own joy for fake political figures, for fake antichrist political figures. Donald Trump is antichrist energy. And you have a grown ass man sitting up talking about if you don't like Donald Trump or if you hate Donald Trump, don't contact me. I wouldn't care if somebody loved Donald Trump. I wouldn't care if somebody hated him. If there was somebody that loved Donald Trump and if I was looking for somebody, I wouldn't care as long as they treated me right. They can have whatever political view they want. You feel what I'm saying? I don't care about people's political views. I care about the person. If I was in that market, I would care about the person, not their political view. I don't care who they love. I don't care about who they like politically. But people are programmed to be self-sabotaging and to sabotage their own happiness. And they don't even know it. Now somebody like this would be a person who would say, I'm looking for happiness. I'm looking for joy. I'm looking for someone who is not filled with drama. But everything that you say you're not looking for is everything that you are. You're filled with drama. You're filled with trauma. You're filled with bitterness. You're filled with anger. You are filled with abuse. But you expect to attract love and positivity, right? When you've closed yourself off to love and positivity. How can you be looking for love and positivity when you've closed off your heart to that? How can you say that you're loving or that your heart is light when you allow disagreements to get to a point where you can't even come to an agreement with the person or even at least squash the shit? How can you say that? How can you even believe that about yourself? Or is that just another delusion or a sickness of the mind or a disease of the mind? And a disease of the mind is the lack of spiritual influence, balanced spiritual influence. Most of these people have an imbalanced influence. And that is why they're not happy. That is why they're not loving. You can't expect to attract love and happiness and all of those high frequency emotions when you're in a picture with your finger up telling people, fuck you. Then I've seen some people's men say on their profiles, if I take you out on a date, I'm not feeding you first. Okay. Even if you felt that way, why would you put that up? I'm not paying for this site. These are like, what? But these are the same people talking about they're looking for love. You're looking for love, but you're not willing to pay for premium service on a site so you can have access to the people that you want. But you say that you're looking for love. You see how self sabotaging that is? That's reinforced mind control to ensure that you don't find love. You see how self sabotaging people are? And this goes for women too, probably, not just men. But I see this with the men because I'm gay. And that's who I examine mostly. But remember, we live in the gay agenda to eradicate happiness, which is the real gay agenda, to eradicate happiness, to eradicate self love, to eradicate love, real love between people. That's just like what happened between Jeezy and Jennie Mai. I believe that's the woman's name from the not the talk, that show that they used to have with Tamar and Lonnie Love. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't think of the name of it. They used to have that talk show that went off the air not that long ago. Jennie Mai, Lonnie Love. Well, Jennie Mai and Jeezy are getting a divorce. But you have to ask yourself, were they ever, you know, was there, I mean, I'm assuming they were probably in love at some point. You know what I'm saying? But now they are abruptly getting a divorce, and he was the one that filed. He's the one that filed. See, I would never marry a Libra man. I would never marry a Libra man. Libra Libra men are the type of men that you should just use as a fuck boy. I'm not a fuck boy, but as a fuck buddy. I would never marry a Libra man. Now they got some good dick. Give them that much. But I would never marry them. And Jeezy, I believe that's his name, Jeezy, he's a known womanizer. And I'm not judging him for that. I'm not judging him for that. But once you get married, that's supposed to be pushed to the side. You're supposed to be being faithful to your wife. But he's the one that filed for divorce. See, I can look at him and tell he is problematic. But she's problematic too in some ways. But I can look at him and tell that he's problematic. And it's really unfortunate that they're getting a divorce after only 2 years. That's really unfortunate. And it's really sad. Because don't they have children together, if I'm not mistaken? Don't they have children? I could be wrong because I've never really followed them that much. But this is a prime example of how love is being attacked. What type of influences is he under? Jeezy or Yeezy, whatever, Jeezy, I believe that's his name. What type of influences is he under that motivated him to get a divorce from his wife and not even try to work things out? Like, really? I mean, you just filed for divorce? Just like, fuck you. I'm filing for, I mean, like, really? But a lot of people have been saying that they've been separated for a while. Things have not been going good between them for a while. I mean, 2 years is not a long time. 2 years is not a long time. But if you notice, people, they just give up on marriages now. They don't even try to work things out. They give up on friendships. They give up on marriages. They don't even try to work things out. Now, I don't know the circumstances of what's going on between them. Some things maybe they can't be worked out. I'm sure more information will come out. And if more information comes out and it comes to a place where it couldn't have been worked out, then so be it. But damn, 2 years, I wasn't happy to hear about that. I was not happy to hear about that at all. I was kind of a little upset to hear about that. Not because I'm invested, but like I said, I am disturbed by the troubles of the world and looking at all of the people that are suffering in the world. And a it is a bad thing when you've been married for only 2 years and now your spouse is ready to walk away from you. That's 2 years you're not going to get back. Especially when you reach our stage of life, we get in our 40s. I'm 44. She's 41, I believe. No, she's my age. She's my age. You know? So it's just life lessons and how we have to learn them. and understand them and understand your mystery school that's within you. Everybody is their own mystery school. And what is your mystery? And how do you understand it? And how does, this world, how does this world relate to you based upon your spirit? Not someone else's, but yours. You know what I'm saying? But remember, we're living under the gay agenda effect, which is to eradicate happiness because gay means to be happy. It really never had anything, it's not about a sexual orientation. It's about happiness and joy. And we need to restore gay, or that gaiety feeling within the energies. We need to restore that. Collectively, we need to restore that. Anyway, this is the occult view. That's all I have to say. Thank you.